Hello guys, it's me Simo Orahara, and in this video we'll talk about the 9th episode, an episode that revealed one of the greatest secrets of Bleach's story. The truth that Kobo was carefully hiding throughout the story, the truth of Unohana Retsu or Unohana Yachiru, the first Kenpachi. And usually this episode adapted 3.5 chapters, so they didn't adapt the events of Nimaya Witsu because they wanted to focus on the fight between Unohana and Zaraki. And it's clear that they will return to adapt those events in the next episode, maybe in the second half of it. Therefore, in this video, I will focus only on the events of Zaraki and Unohana, and later I will do a specific video about Hikifune and the Zero Squad. First of all, the episode started with an important news, which is the appointment of Kyoraku as a new Sotaicho of Gotei 13 to succeed the former Sotaicho Yamamoto. The appointment came from the Center 46, which among its powers chose the Sotaicho. The interesting thing here is that Kyoraku will only be the second Sotaicho to head the Gotei 13 after Yamamoto the founder, because Yamamoto was serving the Sotaicho position for more than 1000 years, which is the entire history of the Gotei 13. So it's not easy to take the position of someone like Yamamoto. Thus, Kyoraku can officially be considered the second Sotaicho after the old man. Of course, Kyoraku at first seemed as if he had not expected this appointment. The battle had just ended, and the traces of destruction and Yamamoto's death were still not erased. So that's why Kyoraku felt from the beginning the difficulty of this burden that Yamamoto left behind him. But what I like the most about Kyoraku is conversational challenge with the others, and his ability to persuade no matter who is speaking in front of him. Immediately after taking the position officially, he went to the Center 46, and by the way, this organization is considered the highest judicial organ in the Soul Society, consisting of 40 sages and 6 judges, and all of whom are nobles. Therefore, not every person is able to communicate with these men with kind of firmness. But Kyoraku, as I said, has a strong personality and good conversational skills. Moreover, he belongs to one of the most powerful noble families in the Soul Society after the 4 great families. So Kyoraku, when he stood in front of the member of Center 46, began implementing his first plans. First, he appointed 2 vice captains, making Okikiba his vice captain after he was a 3rd officer, because Okikiba spent a long time in the 1st division and knows a lot about it. And this is what Kyoraku needs since he came from another division. As we said, this event, the appointment of Sotaicho, has never happened before, so Kyoraku needed Okikiba by his side, and so did Nana, being the closest person who knew how to deal with Kyoraku. And of course, Central 46 did not like this decision at first, but Kyoraku convinced them of the necessity of that, and gave them another shock that they didn't expect, which is teaching Zaraki the art of sword or Zanjitsu. Zanjitsu is one of the 4 arts that the Shinigami must master. There is Hoho, which is Shimpo, and there is Hakuda like Taijutsu, and there is the Kido and then Zanjitsu. Of course, the Zanjitsu is almost the basis of the Shinigami's strength, because it depends on learning all the skills of the Zanpakuto, whether the sword skills as well as the Shikai and Bankai, and that's what Kyoraku wanted. He knows that Zaraki only fights with a rusty sword, yet his strength is extraordinary, so he thought, why not make use of this power? The surprise was not in the shock of the members of Center 46, but was their response to Kyoraku's request. Imagine that Zaraki could have been stronger than what we have seen before. The old man Yamamoto trained him the Kendo for 1 day, and in 1 day Zaraki showed great strength, which made the Center 46 intervene to prevent Yamamoto from training Zaraki, for the fear that he might turn against them. And this is a very important point, guys. It clarifies the policy of the nobles. Any force, any power that threatens their interest, they will try to stop it by several ways, either by making it in their favor, and this is what happened when the members of the Zero Squad. Hikifune said that the members of that squad are distinguished because they invented something important in the Soul Society. And the Soul King is the one who approves their joining. But I say that the issue of the Soul King is just a formality, because Central 46 or the nobles are the ones who determine who will go to the royal palace or not. Any person they see has a fundamental invention and there is a possibility that it will be used against them one day, they sent it to the royal palace to protect the Soul King, and thus ensuring that he does not return to the city except in times of necessity. And the same thing with people who possessed great power. The 7th Kenpachi had a legendary Bankai capable of destroying the entire city, so Central 46 passed a decision preventing the 7th Kenpachi from using his Bankai in that era, and also the same thing it did with Zaraki, which is prevented him from training more, especially at the hands of a professional like Yamamoto. All of that because of fear. And I can say that I know the identity of the noble family that can make such decisions, like stopping Zaraki from training more. I won't speak about it here because it could be a spoiler, but for the ones who have read the novels, they know that there is a noble family that fears the power of the others, that someday they may turn against them. But now the situation has changed. The strongest Shinigami that existed in the Soul Society has died. The Gotei 13 now in its weakest state, and the enemy may return to attack at any time. So how will we deal with them? It is true that there may be a possibility that Zaraki will turn against Serity if he becomes more powerful. But there is also inevitable fact that the Quincy's will come to attack again. So which is closer to logic? Dealing with a possibility that may or may not happen, or deal with the obvious facts? And this is what Kyoraku said to the members of Central 46. He said to them, "Are you able to protect yourselves when the second invasion will happen?" The obvious answer is no. Then shut the fuck up and let me summon the person who is capable of training Zaraki the sword art and make him stronger. What? You have just said that the strongest Shinigami has been killed. Is there someone else strong beside Yamamoto? Yes, there is. And he has been with us for many years, carefully hidden under the appearance of the Angel of Mercy, who used to treat enemies before allies. The angel whose gentle voice used to heal the wound before it received the cure. It turns out that he is in fact the angel of blood and fight. Shodai Kenpachi Unohana Yachiru. And as you can see, it turns out that Unohana Yachiru was the first Kenpachi. Or rather, she was among the first generation of Gotei 13, which Kyoraku said is the strongest generation known in the history of the Soul Society. And before to this, she was known as one of the biggest criminals in the Soul Society and mastered the sword, to the extent that she named herself Yachiru, or I think 8,000 styles of swords or something like that. And that's exactly why Kyoraku chose her for this mission. Of course, Kyoraku told Central 46 that all this was for the sake of training Zaraki the Zanjutsu, but in reality it would be a fight to the death. The fact that it will be a fight between Kenpachis, and all the previous battles that took place between the Kenpachis among themselves ended in the death of one of them. So Kyoraku and Unohana knew very well what Zaraki's training meant. That's why she chose a suitable place for this training, or let's say for this battle, which is the Muken. Since the space of the Muken is unlimited, this will help them to fight comfortably. And honestly, from the moment Zaraki entered to the Muken, the drawing jumped into a higher level. It is true that the darkness of the Muken disturbed watching some scenes, but that didn't hide the beauty and the terror of Unohana Yachiru with her new personality. It's more correct to say the old one. And it becomes clear to us that it's not the first fight between Zaraki and Unohana, but rather the second fight. So, what is now, as a fact, the first fight between Zaraki and Unohana happened before 1000 years ago, before the fight of Yamamoto and Yuaba. Because if you have seen again this scene of the first Gotei 13, you will see the scar on Unohana's chest. And that scar was caused by Zaraki. Why the scar on Zaraki's face was caused by Unohana? And so the end of the episode was the beginning of the fight between them. The superiority was clear to Unohana. Despite her small size and short stature, she was able to make Zaraki down in moments without even using her full strength. But Unohana in return said that Zaraki will not die because he becomes stronger the more he faces death, and that's his mistake and also her sin. And so the episode 10 will witness one of the strongest fights of the story between Zaraki, the 11th Kenpachi, and the first Kenpachi Unohana Yachiru. So guys, tell me your opinion. What do you think? What do you like? What didn't you like? And see you in my next video.